Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about 10 first time watches for me for the month of August 2023. So yeah, these are just 10 movies I watched for the first time. Never seen these movies before, heard of some of them, but yeah, finally got around to checking these ones out. These 10 movies for me are not the best movies that I watched this month. These are just movies that have gone very, very much under the radar, don't really get talked about so much nowadays. I think maybe the first one I've got may be a bit of an outlier to that rule, but these are just some of the most random movies that I stumbled across. But yeah, some of them you may be surprised that I hadn't seen before up until now. But yeah, I just decided to give these a go. They're worth checking out. They're not great, they're not perfect, but I got some enjoyment out of these films. So yeah, the first one that I watched was a Video Nasty. I think this was made in the late 70s, I want to say. And it is I Spit on Your Grave. I'd heard about this movie's reputation, and it kind of put me off watching it for a very, very long time. But a couple of people in the community had watched it, so I thought, you know what, I'll jump on the train and yeah, make my own opinion about it and see what the film's like. And having the movie's reputation in mind, I've got to admit, I did like this movie. I did enjoy it. The subject matter and the content is some of the worst ever. It is absolutely horrific, some of the stuff that goes on in this film. But I still think it was well made and well executed. I did like the movie on the whole. The revenge aspect of it is just absolutely harrowing and satisfying all at the same time. It's great, but my word, it's a tough watch. It really is grim, some of the stuff that happens in this film. But yeah, if you're into your video nasties and all of that stuff, definitely check this one out. So yeah, that was the first one, I Spit on Your Grave. So the next one I watched was a movie with Danny DeVito from the early 90s. Had never heard of this movie, and it is Jack the Bear. I haven't really got any sort of valid opinion I can give about this film. It was what it was. The plot was really confusing. It's kind of like his son gets kidnapped, and oh god, it has that actor in it, that kid actor I cannot stand, who was in Kindergarten Cop and Pet Sematary, and Mercury Rising. But yeah, it was a weird film, but a good film. It looked great. The cinematography in it was fantastic. Danny DeVito, anything with him in, I'm sold. And it's worth a go. Make up your own mind if you've not seen it. So yeah, that was the second movie I watched, Jack the Bear. So the third one I watched was a movie with Keanu Reeves and Kiefer Sutherland, and it was Brotherhood of Justice. Yeah, this was, again, not a great movie, but a really cool concept about these drug dealers and vandals that are just terrorizing this little community. So Keanu Reeves and Kiefer Sutherland kind of band together and get this group going to pretty much try and eliminate all of the troublemakers. And you've got Billy Zane in there as well. It's a fun movie. It's great to see these young actors at the time do some, create some work like this. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. Again, nothing special, but it's worth a watch if you've not seen it. So yeah, that is Brotherhood of Justice. And speaking of Keanu Reeves, the next movie I watched with him in was a movie called Jet. I think it's called Ground Control as well in some parts of the world. But yeah, this was a fun movie with him in. Again, not great. Also stars Kelly McGinnis as well. And yeah, it's about him. He plays this air traffic control officer who was at fault for this horrific crash at the start of the film, and he's kind of brought back into action to try and they realize that they need him at this traffic control office. And yeah, that's pretty much the movie. It all pretty much takes place in this one film, but I still really liked it. I thought the characters and acting in it were pretty good. But again, the movie's not going to be for everyone. So yeah, that is Jet. Next up, I watched a movie with Dolly Parton and James Woods, and that was Straight Talk. I enjoyed this one. I had fun with it. It's very, very cliched. It goes exactly where you think it would. You feel as if when you watch this it's a movie you've seen a million times before, but I enjoyed it. It was Dolly Parton playing this radio sort of agony aunt, and the big reveal is, of course, that she isn't qualified and she isn't this doctor that everyone, that she's made out to be. But her and James Woods have great chemistry in this movie. It's also got Griffin Dunne as well from An American Werewolf in London. And yeah, it's a fun film. It's just a fun, harmless time. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It knows what it is. It knows what it's doing. It's not breaking any new ground. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought the leads were a lot of fun to watch in this film. So yeah, that is Straight Talk. Next up, we've got a film with Selma Blair and Michael Rooker, and that is Brown's Requiem. Yeah, again, I enjoyed the first half of this movie for the part, but it kind of fell apart in the second for me. Michael Rooker pretty much plays this private detective who's hired by this golf caddy to find and locate his sister, as she's kind of spending a lot of her time with this old man, and this golf caddy is, he's just getting really, really worried about his sister. She won't speak to him anymore. It's a really cool setup for a film. Really enjoyed it, but the second half of the movie just really dragged and really fell apart for me. But I still enjoyed it. I still liked it. But give this one a go. If you like Michael Rooker, he's really good in the film. But yeah, it just went down a direction that I couldn't follow from a certain point. So yeah, that is Brown's Requiem. Next up, this is one that I hadn't got around to, but I'd heard so many people talk about this film. It's a movie with Dennis Quaid, and that is Dreamscape. Yeah, I really, really like this film. Far from perfect in my opinion, but really enjoyable. He sort of plays this person who has these psychic abilities, and the government's after him. They're sort of rounding up all these people who have these abilities. They go into like these dreamlike states, and they can predict the future. And some of them can be quite dangerous. And yeah, it's just great. Christopher Plummer as one of the villains in this movie was just phenomenal. Sort of the head of this government who have got this really sinister agenda to use these people. Dennis Quaid's great in the lead role. And yeah, I just enjoyed it. It has this really fun sci-fi element about it from the 80s. Had never got round to watching this movie before, so decided to give it a go this month. And yeah, just had fun with it. So yeah, that was Dreamscape. And the next one I watched was a really sort of cool murder mystery. Well, not murder mystery, but there's a murder that happens in this film, and it's sort of about the Witness Protection Act, and that is Narrow Margin with Gene Hackman. So yeah, this woman goes on this blind date. She witnesses this murder and yeah, has to go under, witness protection. And the great sort of selling point, the set piece of this film was the train sequence at the end. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Just absolutely loved it. When the big reveal happens. Just what a great action sequence. Really, really had fun with this one. Gene Hackman was great. There's a bit in the movie where he ends up sort of in the wrong cabin to try and get away from the bad guys after him, and the woman in there gets really distressed. But yeah, I had fun with the film. Far from perfect, but really, really enjoyable on the whole, nonetheless. So yeah, that was Narrow Margin. The next one I watched was a movie with Kevin Dillon and Alicia Silverstone from the mid-90s, and that is True Crime. Yeah, again, nothing special, but I really enjoyed it. I really liked the chemistry that these two actors had. Very much sort of follows, a group of people who are being murdered, being picked off sort of one by one, and they're trying to figure out who did it. And it leads them to this fairground where they find this guy who's got this deformed hand, and it just leads them down all these paths. And there's a few, red herrings along the way, but you can kind of guess where the film's going and who the killer actually is. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. It looked fun. It looked great. It was, these two actors have star draw for me. But yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it for what it is. But again, silly, cheesy, over the top, but it was entertaining. So yeah, that is True Crime. And the last movie I watched for the first time this month that I've put on this list is a movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and it is Far and Away. I was a bit apprehensive about this one. I saw the runtime and I kind of sort of prejudged the movie. I thought, is this going to be a really boring period drama? For the most part, it kind of was like that period drama, but it was a bit silly and a bit over the top for the time, I think. But why I put it on this list was probably because of its ending. The sequences with the whole chase and everyone's on the horses and the galloping, and the movie just looked amazing. It was just absolutely a marvel to look at. It was just stunning. And yeah, it was just that for me was just, it won me over by the end of it. The third act of this film I thought was absolutely great and worth the admission alone. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. It wasn't winning me over at first, but yeah, it definitely pulled me back, got me back into the seat and glued to the screen by the end. So yeah, just really enjoyed this one. By the time the movie had finished, so yeah, that was far and away. So yeah, guys, those are my 10 first time watches for the month of August 2023. So yeah, gonna leave the video there, guys, and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.